This chart is unbelievable right now. On the daily time frame, if we look at what Bitcoin's done here, we literally haven't seen price action like this for over a year, which honestly is a little bit hard to believe. When my lead analyst inside of 𝗪𝗪𝗡 VIP told me this morning, I had to fact check it because I didn't believe him. But this candle, if we measure the height that it managed to move up, that's a 14.5% candle or $5,500 gain. And if you look back at previous trading that Bitcoin has been able to pull off on the daily time frame, if you look at all the big candles, Bitcoin hasn't actually pulled off such an impressive daily candle for a very, very long time. Look at all of these big moves, and it has serious implications, right? I'm going to talk to you about them in just a minute, but if getting jumbled up now. If you're excited for this video, go ahead and smash up the likes and subscribe if you haven't done so already. This is going to be a very, very big one. Even this huge candle right here. Take a look at this right here. This is the first big candle that we had, and it was over a year ago. This is the 8th of February, and obviously today is the 1st of March. We literally haven't seen, and every other candle, I've shown you so many examples as I was speaking, every other example hasn't come close to the gain that we've seen just yesterday with Bitcoin's price. And to me, this is an exceptional circumstance. Now, if you watched my previous live stream, you're going to know that I was actually very bearish at the resistance area here. I wasn't seeing any reason for Bitcoin to absolutely just plunge, just penetrate right through this resistance with no problem. This to me was definitely a surprise. And actually, I did mention to you that I shared information with VIPs. I was in a short position, and unfortunately I've been stopped out for a small, something like 20% loss, which is very annoying, but it's part of the game. It happens, so that's totally fine. Right now, what I want to talk to you about is the implication of where this could take Bitcoin, because seeing a potential triple top pattern here is quite exciting, but also just taking note of the strength here. Seeing so much strength in the face of what actually should be a much weaker market, in my opinion, is either a sign of complete irrationality or actually extreme strength, right? It could indeed be that Bitcoin is in a very strong position right now, and that's why it's shaking off what should actually be bad news. Because one of the key points I was making with you guys in yesterday's live stream is that, when the market is, when the real world is in a very turbulent time, like it is right now with obviously the tensions in Eastern Europe, you would expect people to be selling their speculative assets, and obviously that is exactly what happened. As things really started to heat up between Russia and Ukraine kind of towards the middle end of February, we saw a lot of selling pressure on every speculative asset really that you can think of, and Bitcoin now, even though that tension is still there, is actually doing really well, and that raises a lot of questions. How is it doing this? Is it like I said, is it irrational, or is there actually something deeper going on? I don't want to engage in that conversation too much, but I'm just putting it on your radar because this is something for you to chew on. I have my own opinion, which is that this is just irrational because it's super common for Bitcoin to do stuff like this. But I don't want to talk too much on that. I want you to draw your own conclusions. I just want to focus on the technicals here because bottom line, we have this pattern right here. This is actually our prior swing high within our trend. We were able to just briefly get above it, but nothing with a daily close. Right now we are pushing it at the moment, but until and unless we get a daily candle closing above this yellow circle that I've just drawn over here, it's not actually a confirmed breakout above our prior swing high for this downtrend. We had our high right here, and with each of these two attempts at breaking the level, Bitcoin couldn't actually close above. It certainly looks like it has the strength to do so now, and one of the things I did mention, even though I was quite bearish, is that Bitcoin has a very key, a very nice key bottom pattern right now with a double bottom. One of the things that I spoke about a lot while Bitcoin was rallying up over here is that, if Bitcoin was going to be in a pattern that looked a little bit like this, I absolutely could not expect Bitcoin to, really begin a brand new uptrend off what was at the time a brand new swing low. That's what this is, right? If we look at the lows that we had in this market, right, when we're moving down and we're setting brand new lows actively, which is what we did right here, it's highly unlikely in all markets. It happens sometimes, obviously. These are rules with a lot of exceptions. This is it's not even a rule, it's just generally it's what you see. And there are reasons for this. I'd be happy to talk about it, but it's probably too technical for this video. That's the kind of thing I talk about inside of the 𝗪𝗪𝗡𝗪 Academy course, and inside of 𝗪𝗪𝗪's VIP when we go really in depth on these things. You get an absolutely very clear understanding of what's going on. But you know, this for now is definitely good enough where we're just talking about, look, this is a brand new swing low for the trend. It's highly unlikely that Bitcoin is going to be able to bolster enough strength to carry on rising up, right? I mean, to me, this was always just an extreme reaction to a very, very extreme downtrend. And so naturally, of course, we did end up coming back down to set a double bottom, which actually is a very, very bullish pattern, right? Now that we're not... See this low that we set here, this completely changes the game. Now that we set this low and we're now trending up, that actually changes this from being a brand new swing low to now being a double bottom pattern, which is actually potentially paving the way for Bitcoin to rocket higher to very, very nice levels. And of course, you know, if we do end up breaking this 46k level, I'm seeing a very easy ride for Bitcoin up to the very high 40k, low 50k range, kind of 52, 53 being my next key area of resistance. I think that if Bitcoin is able to clear this area, simply because it got rejected here twice before, and it's now actually... since its first attempt, it's now had to wait, you know, effectively 3 weeks to challenge this area again. That means we've had both a time-based correction, because we've had to wait 21 days, and a price-based correction, where actually the price ended up dipping from, if we measure this from high to low, the price ended up dipping by 25%. So a very nice combination of corrections right here, where on one side we had to wait, on the other side we also lost money. So these kind of corrections can be very, very efficient for the market. And for that reason, I think that if we do get a breakout, it could turn out to be quite explosive. But this is all ignoring the idea that I was saying, which I still think that this is extremely irrational price action right now. I don't actually see a reason for Bitcoin rising right now. I know that some people are talking about how, you know, well, Ukraine is accepting donations in Bitcoin, and you know, I mean, Bitcoin is used as a as you know, a lot of people fleeing Ukraine right now. They can't necessarily liquidate their assets as easily as they could liquidate Bitcoin, right? So there's genuine use cases for Bitcoin in the world right now. I totally see that, and I totally agree with that. But what I was mentioning in yesterday's live stream is that this crisis started last week, not yesterday. And so this is a very delayed response. The only argument I can see for why the pump comes yesterday instead of on the day of the crisis or on the days leading up to the crisis, which actually, by the way, ladies and gents, the days leading up to the crisis, might I remind you, you know, before it got really bad, you know, Bitcoin was actually being sold off. So the only argument I can think of that Bitcoin would pump yesterday is because it was a Monday. But that's a weak argument, in my opinion. Like that is a very poor line of reasoning. So I don't really want to entertain that. I don't think that's what's happening here. And what I mentioned yesterday is, to me, this just looks like just Bitcoin being totally irrational, total market manipulation. I'm not seeing anything else happening, if I'm being totally honest with you guys. And you know what? That can continue. It doesn't mean that Bitcoin can't still move up to the 53k range or whatever the case might be, but it absolutely is a very, very dangerous position. And I don't want to be getting too excited, because you know who is getting very excited? It's the masses in the market. Just yesterday, ladies and gents, and I was warning you guys about this, just yesterday, we were sitting at extreme fear on the fear and greed index with a reading of 20. Today, we're at bang on neutral levels with a reading of 51. This is terrible. Like this, if anything, was a clear, surefire sign that this market is probably in or entering a very, very dangerous place. It's this right now. We are still, might I remind you, and people are going to forget this, which is exactly why 𝗪𝗪𝗪s is here, to snap you guys right back into reality if you're not already here with me. We're still in a downtrend, all right? Like from our all-time high of $69,000, even to our current price, we're down by 35%, and it's been 113 odd days, pushing 4 months. It's been a bloody long time. It's still a big, big drop. Like we are still in a downtrend. Even if, and I covered this yesterday, even if Bitcoin were to peak somewhere here, like $47,000, all we would be doing is forming a very, very clear rising wedge pattern where we'd be targeting highs like this, targeting lows like this, targeting highs, potentially getting ready to form a pattern like this, and then massively collapsing down below, because that's generally how these patterns go. I'm just putting this on your radar right now because when we're seeing irrational price action, people get really, really carried away. And that's not what we're here to do. You know, obviously, if you're hearing me talk about this, if you're hearing me remind you that we're still in a downtrend, which has lasted for months, and we're down by more than minus 35%, and there's a bloody war going on in Europe, and people are scared, and huge indices across the world are still sitting in massive sell-offs, even though they've seen nice recoveries. If me reminding you about things like this makes you uncomfortable, guess what? This channel ain't for you. Get the fuck off, because your feelings are going to keep getting hurt. You're going to piss me off as well if you start dropping comments in the comment section down below, because I don't want to hear it. This is all about realistic and genuine technical analysis, grounded TA, where, look, I'm invested in Bitcoin more than I'm invested in anything else, right? I love seeing Bitcoin go up. I'm recovering some of the losses that I had while Bitcoin was dropping, right? So that's nice. The losses against the dollar, of course. So that's obviously really, really nice. But bottom line, I have to be honest with myself, because my goal here is to accumulate more Bitcoins as time goes on, so that as Bitcoin, I believe, will be setting brand new all-time highs, I can actually be stacking more dollars at the same time. You know, when Bitcoin was over here, if I held one Bitcoin, now that Bitcoin is potentially heading to 69K again, if it does, which I firmly believe it will, I want to be having 2 Bitcoins up here, not 1. I want to be multiplying my holdings. And obviously, that's what I intend on showing all VIP members as I'm trading. Like I said, my most recent trade ended up being in a loss of about like 20%, something around there. I think a little bit more than 20%. Which was very frustrating, but my decision making there was bang on. I would make the same trade 10 times in a row, and I will be breaking down my next positions, which I'm already eyeing up. I've already got a few coins that I'm looking at trading next within this market, so of course all VIPs will be notified about that. But just want to remind you guys about what might be happening if we are breaking up. You know, like I said, I could be seeing I am seeing a potentially quite explosive rally, just because this resistance has held Bitcoin down now for quite a while. I mean, pretty much since the beginning of this year. We're pushing 40-50 days actually, that this area has been holding Bitcoin back. And so I think that if Bitcoin is able to get a breakout, it could actually be quite explosive. We're pushing it right now. I mean, you know, something huge could happen very soon, just today. But you know, I would be expecting a little bit of resistance towards that 50k range. And actually, resistance starts mounting up, to be fair. Resistance does start mounting up kind of even in the high 40k range, you know, like I was saying, somewhere around here. There is a lot of resistance everywhere, but you know, I mean, this is where it does start to mount. The good news is that with all of my conventional indicators, apart from the Ichimoku cloud, we have cleared resistance. Look at the daily time frame right here. We are firmly above resistance. There's absolutely no room for interpretation on this. This is a bullish breakout from resistance. We're 7% above the resistance zone. On the 4-hour time frame, we also broke above that resistance quite a long time ago, although there wasn't really a spread, so I don't know how much validity I want to give it. And the good news is that now on the short-term trend, we can also expect a little bit of support. That said, like I said, with the exception of the Ichimoku cloud, there is still a nasty zone of resistance here, and this stretches all the way up to $51,000. Do I think that this can weigh in on the market and cause a problem? Hell yeah, I do. Absolutely. And the reason that I do is because, you know, this historically has been a huge area of resistance for the market. It didn't really hurt the market too much on this rally up that we had. But you can see that we did still at least get one rejection right here. And if we measure the size of that rejection, it wasn't a small rejection. It was a minus 12% drop. And then previous times where we did have the Ichimoku cloud providing resistance, I'm not going to count this one because it was quite a small cloud, but right here you can see we at first got a huge rejection from here, from high to low of a 38% drop, and then still a few more drops when we interact with the cloud. I mean, generally these clouds are difficult ranges to break, and so you know, I can't expect smooth sailing for Bitcoin right now. That said, obviously, I mean, right now we're showing a lot of strength on the short-term chart, but with this kind of reaction, I just don't see it being sustainable. I mean, you know, generally when we're at the end of a bear cycle and we start massively pumping up, people don't believe in the rallies. But right now, we are starting to get that sentiment creeping back in, and I'll show you why in just a minute. But you know, one of the key points about this, I think that I just want to talk about on the bullish side just now is that, you know, if we do end up being able to break these resistance areas, it's the same thing I was mentioning earlier, where kind of above 53, those of you who are subscribed will know this very well. I'm only seeing the next resistance in kind of the low 60k range, and then I think it should be a straight shot up to 69. If we clear 69, obviously, I think if we rise back up to 69, we're definitely going to clear it with a lot of strength. Whether that happens, very soon or after a bunch of shit and then a long time later, I don't know. But whenever it does happen, if it does, I would be expecting 69k to be breached. And because it's been so long since we've set a new real all-time high, I mean, the last real all-time high that Bitcoin set, in my opinion, was back in April of last year, so that is 11 months ago. Because it's been so long that we've been actively setting brand new all-time highs, like real new all-time highs, not all-time highs that are just 2-3% above the previous one. I would be looking at Bitcoin flying up, and that's always been my long-term perspective. I just wanted to remind you guys about it right now in this YouTube video as well. But one of the key things that I did want to show you guys, just in terms of sentiment, is that last time when the market started to turn really bullish again was the 21st of July 2021, and if we take a look at what happened back then, let's move over to the 21st of July. This actually shows us that sentiment didn't jump up this quickly before. When sentiment really took a leap upwards was the 27th, 28th, really, was when we started to see similar levels on the Fear and Greed Index. Right now we're at 29. I'm sorry, back then it was the 29th of July, something like that, where we saw a reading of 50, which is basically where we are right now. If I just remind you guys where the price was at that time, Bitcoin had already managed to rise up to over here by the time that the Fear and Greed Index reached the same level, and that was after a huge rally. We haven't seen a rally that was this explosive in this rally, right? I mean, if we take a look at the market from its low to its high right here, this was a plus 44, plus 45% gain. Right now we're only up by plus 30%. So to me, our neutrality is premature. I think that people are less bearish prematurely right now, if I'm being quite honest with you guys, and to me that's an important detail. I mean, seeing that is not something that I would brush off lightly, and that's why I'm saying that I think we could have potentially peaked a little bit too quickly in terms of or just gain a little bit too much bullish sentiment a little bit too quickly right now in this market, and that's why I had to highlight it and bring it to your attention in this video. If things do end up getting ugly for Bitcoin again, then I'm seeing support within this 40k range. I'm quite optimistic that it would work out for Bitcoin to find some support in this range just at the moment, because we've had this double bottom and we've shown a lot of strength. That same fundamental thing of Bitcoin being irrational right now, I fully believe is weighing on the market. So to be quite honest, I don't want to draw strong conclusions on what might happen if we do end up dropping, because this move just straight up doesn't even make sense to me anyway. But as far as technical levels go, I think as long as Bitcoin is able to break above this level with some real how do I say, what's the word, with confidence, with like a real sustained breakout, yeah, I mean, it could get really explosive and fun for the market. A lot of altcoins are at resistance, though. I mean, Ethereum, I've had this chart drawn for a long time, is in its resistance area right now. Cardano hasn't even hit its resistance area, which is this blue line that represents the $1 area. Just take a look at how long this area held as support. I mean, pretty much from the end of February to the middle of February this year. That's nearly a whole damn year that Ethereum was able to, that Cardano was able to enjoy this support. We're now coming back up, potentially getting ready to capture resistance. This is complicated because the resistance zone is huge, so it's actually really difficult to trade this safely, in my opinion. But my point is that a lot of these altcoins still haven't actually risen up by as much as I think they could have. Solana barely even budged, which I think was quite interesting. So there's a lot more to talk about. What I'm going to do is later on tonight, I'm going to make a brand new live stream on this YouTube channel. So just make sure that you are subscribed, you're hitting the like button, you're engaging with these videos if you do find them useful, so that you do have a chance to watch that next live stream. That's probably going to happen at the time of me recording this video, probably in about 5-6 hours from now. So if you do want to catch that live stream again, make sure you are subscribed. If you want to jump inside a VIP, watch how I'm navigating my wins and losses in this market, how I'm going to be trading, executing trades in this market, and so on, then follow these steps on screen. And just by clicking on the first link in the description down below, you'll also be taken into our free Telegram channel where I'm giving you more analysis around the clock from myself and the team, and even reminders on these live streams to make sure that you don't miss them, because this is a critical time in the market. You must be making sure that you're able to watch this content exactly when it's produced, because it'll be outdated very quickly. So there you go. I hope you have enjoyed this one. If you have, do me a favor and smash up the likes, subscribe to the channel if you're new around here, tick the bell and all that good stuff. I think it's on screen for VIP. If you want to jump inside of Bybit, you're also going to get some free cash when you follow my link in the description down below and make your first deposit. So go ahead and check that out if you like free money. This is the only exchange that I use, and who says no to free money? So go ahead and check it out, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.